All right, let's dive right into this. I want to take you back to 1988 for a story about a high school band, a talent show, and a real battle of wills. It's all about what happens when raw, unfiltered artistic expression goes head-to-head with, well, the rules.
So you got to picture the scene. We are in a very specific time and place here. It's got this gloomy, rebellious feel to it, you know? It's like everyone was caught in this weird transition. The super polished vibe of the mid-'80s, that was on its way out. But what was coming next? Nobody really knew. It was this messy, uncertain time, which is why they called it the Bridge Era.
And our story, well, it kicks off where so many legendary and, let's be honest, terrible ideas are born. In a basement. This is where we meet a band called the Sids. And they're putting a plan into motion. A plan that is absolutely destined to make some serious noise.
Okay, so before we get into what happens, you need to know the cast of characters in this real-life drama. First up, you've got the Sids. There are rebels. Then there's Mr. Fowler, the man of order. Let's call him the controller. And finally, there's an unexpected ally in all of this, a Mrs. Moore.
So the band's entire universe, it really revolved around this one spot, their clubhouse. Yeah, it was technically Small's basement, but it was so much more than just a place to practice. It was their creative hub, you know? The kind of place where a James Dean poster on the wall sets the whole rebellious mood for everything that's about to go down.
And all that rebellious energy brewing in the basement, it was all building towards their master plan for the ERHS Alumni Talent Show. See, this wasn't just going to be a performance. Oh no, it was a full-blown strategy. A pretty brilliant and definitely deceptive one they called the Trojan Horse Plan.
So what was this Trojan Horse Plan? Well, it was brilliant in its simplicity, really. They had two songs. The first song, called You, James, that was the bait. It was moody, kind of artsy, spoken word, completely safe. But the second song, DOA, that was the bomb. We're talking a hardcore rap rock track all about political corruption, and it was designed to be absolutely explosive. Okay, so the stage is set, right? The trap is laid. But a plan this gutsy, well, it has to survive its first encounter with authority. And that showdown happens at the dress rehearsal, on what is very much the controller's stage.
And here he is. Meet Mr. Fowler. He's the head of the AV department, and to him, the school auditorium isn't just a room with a stage. No, it's his temple. A temple of order, of control. And what the Sids were planning to unleash? Well, it was the exact opposite of order.
So, the rehearsal starts, and at first, everything is going according to plan. The Sids play their safe song, and Mr. Fowler, he's relaxed. He thinks he knows what he's getting. And then they launch into the second song. It is loud, it is aggressive, and it ends exactly how they designed it to end, with this deliberate, screeching wall of feedback and noise. Fowler's reaction is immediate. He storms the stage and just kills the power. And as he's standing there, over them, furious, Mr. Fowler says one line that just perfectly sums up this entire conflict. This isn't just a complaint about loud music, you guys. It's a statement about his entire worldview.
So then, the controller, Mr. Fowler, he lays down the law. He gives them an ultimatum, and it's super simple. If you can't promise that that explosive feedback won't happen again, you're out. You're out of the show, done.
But just when it looks like the whole rebellion is over before it even really started, an unexpected hero emerges. Mrs. Moore, the ally, she steps in. She actually intervenes, and somehow, she convinces Fowler to keep the Sids on the bill for the actual show.
So the band gets their second chance. It is show night. The auditorium is completely packed, and the Sids, well, they're about to take the stage.
And they play both songs. They deliver the bait, and then they drop the bomb. DOA just hits the room like a shockwave. It's got exactly the explosive energy they were hoping for. It's this blast of sound and fury, and it's a direct challenge to the quiet, polite order of this place.
And yup, just like in the rehearsal, the song ends and that wall of screeching feedback fills the entire auditorium. But as that noise starts to fade out, that's when the real climax of this whole story happens, right there in the silence.
So the band's frontman, Stu, he's standing on stage amidst all the applause and that dying noise, and he looks up. He looks directly at the glass sound booth way at the back of the room. He's looking for one specific person. And he finds him. He catches Mr. Fowler's eye. And Fowler is not smiling. Not at all. He's got this distinct scowl on his face. You can tell he still hates the noise. He still thinks the whole thing is improper.
And yet, he doesn't pull the plug. He doesn't cut the mics. He doesn't storm the stage like he did before. He just stands there and watches. So why? Why does the man of order, the controller, let this moment of pure chaos just happen?
And the answer, the real takeaway here, isn't that he's suddenly approved. Oh no, Mr. Fowler didn't suddenly fall in love with their music, but the raw, undeniable energy in that room, the connection between the band and the audience, it was a force so powerful that even the controller couldn't bring himself to shut it down. For that one moment, the pure, raw expression in the room was stronger than the rules of the institution.
So what was this all really about then? Because it was more than just some loud noise and teenage rebellion, right? Let's dig into the real philosophy behind what they did.
When you hear the band talk about it now, their reflection is super clear. Their intent was never, ever malicious. They weren't just trying to cause trouble for the sake of causing trouble.
You have to remember, they were just kids stuck in that weird gray area of life. You know the one, you're not really a high school kid anymore, but you're definitely not an adult yet. You're just trying to figure out who you are and what the heck comes next.
And that's the core of it all. That performance, that was their statement. It was a small act of defiance against the rules, against all the Mr. Fowlers of the world. They were just getting a few kicks on the man, and they were doing it by way of artistic expression.
Which really just leaves us with this one big question to think about. Mr. Fowler's whole deal was that their art was not necessary or proper. But the story of the SIDS, it kind of forces us to flip that on its head and ask the opposite question. When, for the sake of your art, for true expression, when is it absolutely necessary and proper to break the rules?